What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So today I did want to talk about the entire thing that's being discussed about the next crew game apparently being greenlit at Ubisoft. I did have a feeling once I saw something about this on X, or at least a lot of people were posting in the Discord and pretty much popping up everywhere that, yo, the next crew game is apparently being greenlit at Ubisoft, and there's been rumors like, is this true, is it not? And I kind of have a feeling that it is indeed going to be very true, and I'm even going to speculate right now that the game's probably already in development way before this post was even made. But again, that's kind of going to be like a small prediction. Now, we all do know this is going to be a post by Tom Henderson on X. I do know a lot of people probably saw that. They were probably thinking if it's real again and stuff like that. But we all probably do know at this point, guys, let's be real. The next crew game is probably going to be in development. What I do find kind of hilarious about this is everybody does know I was making videos about this a while ago, where I was talking about, like, for example, well over a month ago, I was talking about how I think the next crew game should probably go back to its roots of like the crew 1, or maybe follow something different instead of doing the entire festival thing, or, you know, taking most of the cues from Forza and trying to make like another festival racer. I feel like they probably need to do something way different in the next game, or at least take a different approach to it. That way it's not really going to look like a clone and stuff. And the other big part of that, as we all do know, Forza Horizon 6 is most likely going to be getting announced soon, and it could end up even coming out this year. And with that, I do truly believe that game is going to come out on every single platform, because honestly, Microsoft knows and sees how successful the game is currently, or at least Forza Horizon 5 is, on PlayStation. So yeah, you probably should release that on every single platform. And with that being said, I feel like that's only going to open up the competition even more. Now, a few funny things I gotta admit about this, though, is I did end up going back into some of my old videos and looking at them, and I was looking at the titles, watching them again, and I really did find this a bit hilarious. Now, I did end up doing the whole back to the root thing with the crew, and, you know, probably following the crew 1 thing with, like, a small story, or maybe something like the crew 1 to mix it up. I did also end up doing another video, though, saying, can Motorfest go 5 years like the crew 2? Which, don't get me wrong, is still possible. Like, I don't think Motorfest is over. They can easily turn the game around and probably have some incredible updates if they really do lock in. That's the biggest thing, because the current update cycle we're having right now, like 1 or 2 playlists every 4 months, I just feel like it's not really engaging enough to keep players in there, which is also why I think a lot of people aren't looking forward to stuff, and like the entire player count's down. So I feel like they probably do need to lock in or do something completely different, which we probably could even see in the next game. Maybe this game's pretty much done for this year or something. Maybe they might do something huge for year 3. We really don't know at the moment, and I'm still kind of having hope that they can really pull something out for year 3. And who knows, maybe this game's only going to have a full 3 years, and then we're probably going to see the next game or something like that. I feel like that might end up being possible. But with that being said, I also had a video around over 10 months ago again, which the other video about the whole 5 years was also over 10 months ago, is this next crew game in development? Well, it turns out I was looking at that going, you know, back then people were like, nah, probably not, this game has a lot of life in it. But then again, a lot of people are like, well, they probably started working on the Crew Motorfest, most likely not all the way into the end of the Crew 2's life cycle. Even though this game was supposed to be a said DLC, it was most likely not in development like the last year of the Crew 2. There was probably in development way before then, which is probably going to make me guess and say that the Crew 3, which I'm going to guess is the next game. For anybody wondering on why I say that, I don't think the next game's going to be the Crew 4 technically, because, well, I feel like in some ways Motorfest is technically a spin-off, okay? I know some people might argue and stuff like that, but don't y'all agree? Like, this game kind of feels like a spin-off compared to the Crew 1 and the Crew 2. Like, the overall, like, design of those compared to Motorfest, I feel like this was like a spin-off type of game. And then the Crew 3 is probably going to be another big racing game on a huge map or something, which I did end up talking about that in an old video as well, guys. Like, where could the next game take place? That was around 5+ months ago, and I feel like there's a lot of great answers. Maybe Europe, maybe Canada, maybe different parts of Spain. Who knows where they could go with it? I personally don't know if going back to the US is a good idea, but unless they want to, like, pretty much reuse all the assets and then go back to the US for the next game. And that's the thing though, like I was seeing a lot of people saying, yeah, let's go back to the USA. And then a lot of people are also saying maybe they should go somewhere else with the game as well to mix it up and probably not have it like the Crew 2 and the Crew 1. Like if we got those exact same ideas of those maps that were in both of those games, they would pretty much have better graphics and stuff like that, then maybe people would be like, yo, this is dope. Or people are like, well, I've already played on these maps for months and stuff, or actually it's probably like, what, 7 years, 6-something years like that. Might be 8 years. Either way, that is a long time on the same map, and a lot of people are probably looking for something different. I think we can all agree on that, guys. So the big thing I want to ask y'all with that is, where do you think the next Crew game is going to be, and do you think it should be somewhere different? I would say a lot of people are like, well, yeah, Block, we don't want to be in the USA still. Then other people might say, well, it would be kind of fun to go back to the USA, maybe have updated physics and stuff like that from Motorfest. And I gotta admit, that would be pretty dope. But at the same time, well, maybe people are looking for a new place to be, though. I feel like that could also kind of work. Now, the thing is, I also thought about this a bit earlier, and I will end up doing like a wish list for the next Crew game probably down the road a bit. We're obviously going to be pretty far away from it, guys. I mean, if I had to guess right now, probably at least a year and a half, maybe a bit longer, maybe a bit less, but I feel like it is probably going to be a while. This game I would probably predict to have at least another year of content, at least go all the way through year 3, and then maybe they might end up announcing the next game after that or something. At least that's kind of my prediction. Again, this could probably age poorly and it could come out in 5 years, or it could even end up coming out after 3, and then Motorfest is most likely going to be over. But I am going to do like a wish list type of thing of like how that game could be better, some better design decisions. Few for those examples, if you are wondering, is for one, make the summits better, obviously go after better rewards, having you really want to play it and go after things, probably honestly in ways design it similar to Forza, where it really is going to reward you for your time in it. I feel like there's a lot of better things they can do. Number 2 there is probably going to be the PvP aspect. Just give us more game modes, man. I do understand your entire design around the grand races was the big advertisement thing. But seriously, bro, like, just give us more PvP modes, different game modes, even like what Forza has, like hide and seek and stuff. Make the game more interesting. Make the entire aspect of people wanting to play it at least more fun. You know what I'm saying? Give us more things to do, because at the moment, Motorfest pretty much has no end game whatsoever. Like, yes, you can argue that we're going to have the summits, cool, even though most of the rewards are awful. A lot of players, including myself, don't even want to log on half the time and most likely even go after it. Speaking of that, though, I feel like this is also speaking in the summits itself, guys. I did want to show you this right now in the menu. This is going to be in the Crater Chaos, which is going to be the most recent summit, giving us the Ford F-150 Raptor. Now, the reason why I did want to show this, though, is we're going to have 60,000 players fully ranked on this, which, again, I do understand isn't going to be that many players, which is funny because I think a lot of the other ones have been a lot bigger, but this is going to be a monster truck. People might not like the events, and pretty much so on after that. But if you are looking through the events, though, you're going to go, okay, 52,000 on that one. We're going to have 40,000 on that one, so that's a bit lower. We got 42,000. Then moving over to the Escape, we have 32,000, which is even lower. But the top right event over here is going to be 28,000 players. That is going to mean to me right now that only 28,000 people have went through every single event in this summit, man. That is pretty dang low. We're talking about PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. So PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and we're also going to have the PC. 28,000 players completing every single event in the summit, man. That is an incredibly low number. I'm guessing PC probably has around 4,000 to 6,000 players, maybe total. It could even be lower than that, I'm not sure, but that's my initial guess there. We all do know PlayStation has definitely tumbled a lot with Forza coming out. I do know a lot of people went toward that game. I mean, heck, bro, it did over 2 million copies on it. That is insane. So I would say a lot of people probably went to that a bit. They're most likely playing that. And that will also bring me into the next little wish list thing I would actually like to talk about more in the other video, but I figured I mentioned it in this one. That's going to be a real working crossplay. None of the entire leaderboards in the crossplay. Cool, bro. I can look at other people on what PC players are doing on their scores. Cool. Can I play with them? No, unless I do grand races. Okay, well, this dude did really good on the summits. Can I play with him? No, you can't play with him because it's not crossplay. Well, can I invite him? No, you can't, bro. Does that make any sense, bro? It's like a submarine with a screen door. Like, some things just don't work there. And you know what? Speaking of that, though, this is also something else I gotta admit. A lot of the things I've talked about in TCM and stuff, guys, going over different topics on it, legit, 99% of it is me loving this franchise. I want to see this game do good, man. The potential in Motorfest is legit crazy. Hear me out, guys. We all do know right now that, yes, this game is going to be in a very bad place. But here's the thing. Again, if Ivory Tower can lock in on Motorfest, it could seriously be something incredible. That, or at least lock in on the next game, at least hopefully one of the two things happen. This game is going to have a bunch of different vehicle variety, which I would say is the biggest selling point of Motorfest. I mean, if you take away the planes, boats, you also take away the planes, the helicopter, which a lot of people don't use. We're also then going to take away the motorcycles. Just leave, let's just say, every car in the game, whether that's going to be racing, street, and, etc. If you left just that in the game and took all the other class variety out of it, I feel like this game would even be in a worse place than it currently is. The reason why I say that is it's going to offer something different. It's going to give players a different experience, and I feel like that's something they can really build off of in Motorfest. The stuff you can do in this game with the different vehicle classes is similar to Grand Theft Auto, and there is pretty much no other game on the market. But if you're not going to execute it right, then it's basically going to completely fail. It doesn't matter what the vehicle variety is like, or the class variety for that matter. The reason why I do say that is if all those classes were gone and we were just going to have regular street tier vehicles and just racing classes and stuff, to be honest, I feel like even less people would play this game. We all do know that's probably going to be a big identity in the crew, at least it was in the crew too. Motorfest honestly went way more toward the entire festival thing like Forza. But if I'm going to be real here and say if it was focused on cars and you had to race cars mainly, there wasn't going to be different classes, different things. To be real, I would probably barely even play Motorfest because I can now play Forza. I can use vehicles that Motorfest is never going to get, do different builds, and drive cars that this game won't have and stuff. And I feel like a lot of people would feel similar. So the thing is, though, I'm not saying Motorfest or this entire design is terrible, but we can all agree it can definitely be executed better. I mean, heck, they can have an insane winning formula on their hands right now, guys, again, if they locked in with it. And I really do hope the next game does that, or they end up locking in on this game in year 3. Who knows? Again, I'm going to say it right now, maybe year 3 is going to put this game on a completely different level, a way better place. Maybe they're going to have new PvP stuff. Maybe the summits will get revamped. And that's something I want to do. I will end up coming back to this video and talking about that when year 3 does end up coming up. I gotta admit, though, doing the entire year 3 pass for $30 again with like 15 or 20 cars is probably not a very good idea because I just don't think that's well worth the money whatsoever. They really got to have something else in there, man. We all do know we got the playlist, but again, $30 was just absolutely ridiculous for what you actually got in those. So hopefully the year 3 one is going to give us more stuff. I do know a lot of people want like another island, but I just don't know if I see that in year 3. Is it possible? I kind of think it is. Maybe they'll have an entire new playground and the new island up there. That would be pretty dope. I also think they really need to fill in Maui, but that's also going to come down to another design flaw, which is going to be the playlist. I do know for a fact a lot of people don't like them. Like, yeah, you're going to have the small story part of it. That's pretty dope. But the overall design of that really does limit so many other things in the game because we all do know the playlist takes so dang long to put in the game and stuff like that. So it kind of limits them on what they can add when it comes to races and stuff like that. Or, okay, well, the monster trucks have basically no races. Demolition Derby has no races. Rally somehow has 6 races when there's dirt roads everywhere. Rally Raid can definitely have a lot more events, so I feel like a lot of things are hurting there. And on top of that, I also feel like the game needs a lot more racetracks, or at least maybe 2 more. Even put a bigger one floating in the sky somewhere, like the drift events, man. I feel like that could be a solution for that stuff. But again, there's so much potential with TCM, and I really feel like right now it is being completely wasted. I'm going to be 100% real, guys. I have barely played Motorfest the last month. I log on to this game, I do the summits, that's pretty much it. And I feel like I have not missed out on basically anything. The reason why I do say that is, yes, you can argue that the end game is going to have the custom mode and stuff, the prestige shop. Here's the thing, though. I did end up playing the Crew 2, so I have everything in there. So it pretty much gives me no reason to do the custom mode. So eliminate that from the end game. If you do the summit, that's done. I don't want to do grain races. I just don't see the point of them at this point. But with that, they can also add way more stuff on top of it, like have PvP challenges, have summit challenges tied to it, give us custom license plates again, like the crew one. I don't know, man. There's so many ways to make this game great. Bring back the hobbies or something like that. I don't know. Just give us things to go after, give us things to do. I really do feel like at the moment, man, like just being real, I think TCM's in a very odd place. You can probably see that with the player counts and stuff. And a lot of people just don't want to seem to play this game anymore. I really don't know what's going to happen with the future. I don't think anything bad will happen with this game. Like, I really do believe we're probably going to have another entire year, most likely, of content for it before we probably see anything of the next game. But I am going to make a quick prediction here because I could probably keep yapping and stuff. I am super curious to see what the comments are saying. I want to know what y'all think because I do feel like in some ways seeing a post like this pop up probably made a lot of people go, yo, what's the next game about? Or is this really the end for Motorfest? This game probably feels like it wasn't all that done or they could have did more for it. So I am curious to know what y'all think about this in the comments below. We all once again know that Forza is going to be out on PlayStation now, so Ubisoft is going to have to step it up and do something different because that game is definitely very competitive toward this one. It offers a lot of like, let's say car people or people into that stuff are definitely most likely going to enjoy. Both games are going to be different, so I don't understand why everyone has to argue. I do understand they're different, and we all do know a lot of things about these games are probably not going to be all that similar. But we can also agree that Motorfest definitely took cues from the entire Forza Horizon Festival thing, which I kind of hope the next crew game isn't going to do. With that being said, I did want to quickly predict something right now, guys. I want to guess right now. I did end up talking about this again in that one video 10 months ago, but I truly believe the next game is already in development. We're probably seeing the thing about the Greenlit. I highly doubt they are just starting to work on the next game right now. I truly believe that. I'm willing to bet right now that they're already working on the next game. It's most likely in development, maybe 6 months to a year. Again, this is going to be a guess. I don't know if I'm right, but I would like to think that it's possible. And they can most likely be working on it for a while. Like, there's no way they're just starting right now on the next game, bro. Like, I just don't see that. We all do know right now with how the updates are on Motorfest and the way things are being handled, I feel like a lot of the things people want aren't really being looked at. Fixes are taking way longer than normal. I think in some ways I guess you could say the first year of the Crew Motorfest kind of seemed to get things handled and also listen to people better, but going into year 2 and right now, I feel like things are a lot more stagnant. Am I right? Anyone else thinking that? I don't know, something I was thinking about a bit. I feel like things are kind of slower, and with that, I feel like they probably have a big team off of Motorfest working on the next game, or maybe working on projects, who knows. But either way, I really do feel like the team working on TCM has to be tiny, and they probably have a majority of that entire development team most likely working on the next game. At least that's my prediction anyway. Again, let me know what y'all think about this in the comments below. I'm very curious. Do let me know your thoughts on where the next game could take place, or maybe somewhere you like to see the next crew game take place. What are some things you guys like to see in the next game that could be better, well designed, at least a better way to do it, whether it's like a story, no playlist, maybe a different way they could design it to make the game more interesting. We all also know the entire economy in this game is absolutely terrible, so that can definitely have some adjustments, hopefully not at the end of the life of the game, but most likely in the next one. But again, guys, let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. I can't wait to see what people say because, as I said before, I do love this franchise. I want it to do great, but the current state of Motorfest, man, I don't know. It really makes you question a lot. I mean, heck, a lot of players currently are most likely not even playing this game.